Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Speak and Grow Rich podcast. Today, I am so happy to introduce you to the one and only Enoch Leffingwell, who is an international speaker. He's an author, and he's a professional that helps people in the health niche and with their business. So welcome, Enoch. Congrats for being here. Let's go.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here with you, Amanda, and your audience. It's definitely an exciting time. I'm looking forward to our interview.
Yay. Okay. So tell me, you had a heart attack at age 12. So how did that get you on your path and help you as a speaker? And praise God, you're alive.
Yes, praise God, I'm alive. So I had a heart attack when I was 12 years old, and I was 210 pounds. I was the second fattest kid of an elementary school of about 1,000 students. I had this heart attack and I was rushed to the hospital. And when I went there, they drew my blood and found out I was high cholesterol, high blood pressure. I already knew I was morbidly obese and that I was borderline diabetic. And I didn't know a whole lot about diabetes at the time, but I imagine at 12 years old, I was at this fork in the road, and I imagine that I was like walking towards a precipice with one foot off, and I was about to take that plunge, and my life would never be the same again. Which now I know that type 2 diabetes can be reversed, but at the time, 12, I was just like, what do I do with my life? And my mom introduced me to she pulled some books off the shelves, and she was sharing how these different health mentors of her, health experts, were showing that there's these 8 laws of health that when they're followed, then health is a result. And when they're disregarded, then disease is a result. And I began to understand these things. And there's an acronym for the 8 laws. It's called God's Plan. And it stands for G is for godly trust. O is for open air. D, daily exercise. S, sunshine. P, proper rest. L, lots of water. A, always temperate and in nutrition. These are the laws of health. And as I started to apply these principles to my life, I was able to lose 50 pounds in 3 months. I never put it back on since. I haven't touched a soda since I was 12. And I just started to take more of an interest in health. And my pre-diabetes was reversed, and I haven't had an issue with that since. And overall, I just started to feel so much better. And as I got on this journey to learning health, people wanted to hear my story. They started inviting me to share. And when I was 17 years old, was the first time that I got paid to speak. And as I was speaking at this event, a friend of mine was hosting it, and he let me speak there. And as I shared my story and my testimony and my experience, I got paid $100 for that hour slot. And I was like, what is this for? And he explained to me that, well, everyone who was coming to the event, they each got paid an hour per slot. And they got their expenses covered, and they get even a larger gift to go home with because they got families to provide for. And he was saying, you're in high school, so you don't have all those expenses, but I want to encourage you. But at that moment, I was like, wait a second, you mean to tell me that there are people that exist in this world who for a living speak, and they share a message that matters to them, something I would do for free, and they get paid for it, not only enough to just like get peanuts, but to provide for their families and do that for a living. That was a day I became psychologically unemployable, because I went from making $8.50 an hour working at a model train company to $100 an hour per speech. And then since then, I've been paid even upwards of $10,000 for a 45-minute speech. But that was like, this is something. And I dedicated my life to figuring out what will it take to be a professional speaker and to be able to do this full time. And so I've been a professional speaker for the last 11 years, and It has been quite the journey. But a lot of it started with that heart attack when I was 12 that opened the doors in teaching health and health education. But I've also been fascinated with digital marketing since I was 12. So a lot of what I've been doing is teaching digital marketing for nonprofits, and then health education during those years as a speaker.
Right on. I love how you turned what I call your seminar story, your plane into a plane is crashing problem, and now you're capitalizing on that. You're turning your past into gold, which is incredible. And it saved your life, and it's going to save millions of lives as well. So how can people watching, a lot of people want to get booked to speak and be international speakers. What do you recommend they do? What actions to get booked to speak and to have those international, or even get paid up to $10,000 per gig?
Yeah, what I found is one of the best things that people can do is, first of all, is pick a profitable person and see who do you want to serve, who makes sense for you to speak, to serve with your background, who would value some of the experiences, like you said, like your pain of your past. There's actually a purpose to your pain, and you can
Yes.
turn that pain into gain for others and for yourself by turning your message your message. So as you choose who you're able to serve, and you want to find, like, what is a profitable problem, what is a problem that not just people want to pay attention to, but people want to pay to listen to, people want to pay to
Yes.
actually learn. Because an entrepreneur, one of the best definitions I found is, an entrepreneur is one who finds and solves a valuable problem. And
Mhm.
that's what I see as one of the biggest mistakes that speakers make, is that they don't realize that their speech is intent, it needs to solve a specific problem. You're
Right.
not just talking to talk, you're not just talking to tell your story. Like, in all reality, like, no one really wants to hear your story for your story's sake. They don't really care about what your story is, they care about what your story can do for them. How can it
Right.
relate? How can it guide them to a solution to a problem that they have? And only in your ability to relate with that audience, then they're willing to go where if you could show that you've been where they are, then they're willing to go where you lead them. And that could be towards products or programs or other opportunities. But finding that problem that you're able to solve, and realizing that not every problem pays the same when it's
Mm,
solved.
that
That is
part.
such a big difference. So find valuable problems to solve in your speech and in your speaking, your education. And that's one of the best things that people can do at first.
That's so good. Solve a problem that people want to pay for. They value the they value the solution more than the money in their pocket. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So how do you get booked to speak? I mean, you got paid up to $10,000, you had international gigs. How can people, after they have these pieces in place, how can we do that?
One thing that I found is very helpful is really create, like, for what I did is, as I spoke and I went to places, I recorded them, and I recorded those, and I was able to put them on YouTube, online. And by creating content and publishing, you're able to give little packets of previews of your presentations and how you share. And it allows people to come in contact with you who otherwise would never know you exist. And honestly, for me, much of my speaking engagements came from my YouTube videos or the Facebook videos. Someone would watch the video and they'd be like, "This is amazing. And would you be willing to speak at my event?" Or they know someone that they'd be interested in having me speak. So they're like a contact that will open the doors for other people. And I find that that is very big. One of the number one marketing asset I believe that there is for a speaker is having a great speech. When you have a great signature talk, one signature message you're able to share and refine and go through and deliver, and when people are going to say, "Wow," when there's going to be epiphanies and light bulbs are lighting off and people are able to take action on what you're providing. Then when you have that level of, like, certainty that comes through practice, which I find there's a lot of practice you can get in your content and take the best of the best and put it into your signature speech, then when
Yes.
people hear that, they're inviting you. Like, I was speaking at an event, the same event as the first place. A year later, I was probably 18 years old. I was speaking there, and I did this 3-part series, and someone was like, "This is amazing." I was speaking in Oregon, and they're like, "Would you be willing to share this message over in Florida?" And I was like,
Oh, wow.
"Yes, I'd be willing to." And I was 18 and I've never been on a plane before, but they paid for my flight, they paid for my hotel, they paid for my entire travel and experience. I had a lot of first times going to
Wow.
Orlando, Florida, where I spoke over there. And I remember sitting in that hotel, first time I've ever been in a hotel and an airplane. And I was
What?
there and I'm like, wow, people travel the world and they travel the nation and they pay to stay at these hotels. I'm actually getting paid to travel and speak since I was 18, and that was 10 years
Wow.
ago. And I'm just like, this is a life that I want to continue to pursue. And since then, I found too that you can even go to destination events that you there's like, choose where do you want to go to, and look for conferences or look for speaking events that are in that dream destination, maybe Baja or in Hawaii or wherever you want to go. And you can actually find event planners, figure out who are the decision makers. Often their websites will show you, and then get paid to speak and travel to go to these places, and your vacations are more than covered.
And it's a tax write-off.
Exactly.
That's great. That's so incredible. Thanks for sharing. So what is it that you see as the biggest gap in the marketplace right now for speakers? Now that a lot of people are doing things online and maybe not so much in person, like where do you think where could people really cash in on as a speaker?
Yeah, great opportunities that people don't usually think about is there are the physical platforms that are in-person events, but there's also digital platforms that you can use. And there are podcasts are constantly looking for guests. And a quick tip for getting guest podcasting is no, people who interview guests. And it sounds simple, but you don't want to approach a podcast that is just one influencer who's speaking and sharing his content, but he doesn't interview anyone. When you find there's podcasts that actually interview people, they're far more likely to interview you. A lot of times they'll have a form on their website. If they interview people frequently, they often had a form where you could just submit it in. I have an assistant that's able to go through and submit these things. And then there's podcasts. There's actually membership areas of other people's courses or coaching programs. That's very valuable. There's challenges. There are free challenges and there's paid challenges. When you're able to be a guest speaker on these different challenges, you could do joint ventures where if you have a list and you want to bring other people to speak, then you can take your audience and bring someone who has experience to be able to teach your audience. That has been really effective. As well as if you don't have a list, you can find someone who does. If you have an expertise, if you have something that is unique, that's why the riches are in the niches. Because when you have a specialized problem you're able to solve, one that doesn't compete with the person who's hosting an online challenge, but is able to complement, then you can take a day or you can be a guest appearance on other people's challenges, because you'll be the expert in that field, in that area, in that niche, and then be able to serve those people who are coming through. That's another great opportunity for people. You have podcasts, you have paid membership sites, challenges, and there's also summits. When people are doing a lot of summits right now, Russell Brunson is a big name in the industry, and he's really recommending people do summits and challenges where people get a variety of speakers and they can interview them or have them speak on a specific subject. And they're constantly looking for experts in this field. There are literally thousands of events that are taking place before COVID every day. And after COVID, the events didn't die out or change. A lot of them went virtual. Many are coming back, and many are hybrid. And they're finding that the conversions of these hybrid events have actually been better than when it was just one or the other.
That's cool. I love that. Oh, you gave us so many great gems. So tell us a little bit about your book, because I know you have it. What's the name of one of your books?
So my best-selling book is I Want to Mentor, Now What Do I Do? And in this book, it's for speakers, authors, and coaches. And it shows them how they can meet master mentors who are the best in their fields, how they could maximize their mentorships, because people are paying tens of thousands of dollars for coaching, for masterminds. They attend seminars. And a lot of times you get so inundated and overwhelmed with all these tips and strategies, and it's intense. So I show people how they can turn those learnings into earnings in the fastest path, where they are maximizing their mentorships. And then finally, how they can master any skill in half the time. Because really, we're living in this age where never has it been easier to make money online than before, but it doesn't feel that way because the rate of information is accelerating. Now, if you're able to accelerate your learning, then you can accelerate your earning and speed up the process of learning these high-income skills, because a high-income skill is infinitely better than a high-income job. We learned with COVID, high-income jobs they come and go. You could be fired. you could governments. I mean
Shut down.
yeah, there could be government shutdowns and the COVIDs can't the economic downfalls, and there's not so
Right.
much like there's less security in job security. There's more security in learning high income skills like public
Right.
speaking, like learning how to sell from stage, like creating offers that people want to buy. These are high
Yes.
income skills. So the faster you can learn these skills that produce success, the faster you'll be able to reach the goals that you're looking for. So that's really what my book is in a nutshell.
What a neat twist on a book. What made you come up with that book? I've never heard that angle before, and I've been doing this a long time. I think it's super smart because I found that people they'll invest in a high-end mentor, but then they don't show up, they don't do the work, they get caught on something and then they don't ask the questions or they fall behind, and then they almost give up their hopes and dreams or blame the mentor or whatever they do. So I think it's very smart that you wrote a book about this. I like it. How did you come up with that?
Yeah, part of it is just because I see that, well, one, when there's a book like that, it being able to add value to coaches, authors, speakers who have students by being able to teach their students how to become super students of success is what I call it. It allows them to be able to accelerate how long it takes them to learn the lessons that the coaches are speaking. So they're able to produce more testimonials. They're able to get their results faster. The effectiveness of their students are increased. So therefore the retention is, and better word of mouth marketing. And also I found that having peers and friends or people who, like you have seen, invest in coaching programs, people are investing in mentorships that they don't really know how to learn. I mean, many times we hear in coaching program or in school teaches you what to learn, but when was the last time you took a class on how to learn?
Right.
I have found that accelerated learning strategies, like what I teach in my book, are some of the best hacks that I have found in able to thrive in this creator economy, because it's really the amount of skills that you're able to acquire in business as an entrepreneur. You got to find leads. You got to learn to delegate, learning how to
Mhm.
speak and communicate well, not just communicating expectations like with a team, but communicating to sell and influence and persuade. Different skill set. There's so many different skills in an entrepreneur. So the more skills you're able to acquire, the more value and the more complex of a problem that you're able to solve. And then the more you're able to get paid. So I find that by helping people to learn those high income skills, how to meet those master mentors, so they're not being confused and where to start, where to go, and how to, when you found a mentor, how to get the most out of your mentorships is a problem worth solving.
Yeah, it's really cool. How can we get the book, and how can we continue to follow you?
Yeah, you can get the book at iwantamentorbook.com, and I'd be happy to send it to any of your viewers. If you go to the website iwantamentorbook.com, then just tell me where to ship it. I cover the cost for the book, you cover the
Okay.
cost for shipping and handling, and I'd be happy to send it to you at iwantamentorbook.com.
iwantamentorbook.com. Excellent. And where can we follow you on social media or YouTube, or come and hear you speak? Do you have a website or?
Yeah, the best way to contact me is at EnochLeffingwell.com. On my website, you'll be able to connect with me on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, anywhere the social media is found. But that's ENOCH, Enoch Leffingwell, LEFF like Frank, INGWELL.com. And on there, you'll find more of my story and how we can connect. And I honestly absolutely love to connect with people who listen through a podcast interview like this or who want to interact. I'm big on strategic partnerships, and I would be happy to hear from anyone who's listening here, enjoyed any part of my story, then feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to connect.
Okay, EnochLeffingwell.com. And then give me your book one more time. Book
It's
URL.
iwantamentorbook.com.
I want a mentorbook.com. Everyone had that. We'll make sure we have that in the link. Hey, I love your journey. I'm so excited. This is just the beginning. I mean, guys, he started at age 12 and 17 was his first paid speaking gig. So he is one to watch. Follow him. Thanks for showing up and serving today. And guys, watch the next video. Be sure to comment, like, and share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye. Thank you, Enoch.